Good morning, everyone. So, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ? Good. So, how many of you have already prepared for the examination? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನಾದರೂ? Totally freshers, all of you? Totally zero. And assume ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದಾ? That all of you are zero currently? ಅಲ್ಲ, ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ, ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು UPSC ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಝೀರೋ. ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಆಟ ಆಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ರೈಟ್. ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಸ್ಟೇಟು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಫೀಲ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಚೀವರ್ಸ್? ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಗುಡ್. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ? ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಂಟನ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಹಾಂ, ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಂಟನ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಬಾಲ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಗುಡ್. ಟೇಬಲ್ ಟೆನ್ನಿಸ್, ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟು? ನೀವು ಅದರ್ ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಫೀಲ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ? ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಲೆವೆಲ್, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್, ರೈಟಿಂಗ್, ಡಿಬೇಟ್, ಆ ಥರದ್ದು? ಗುಡ್. ಏನು ಮಾಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋರು? ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಯ್ತು, ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಯ್ತು, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಫಿನಿಶ್ಡ್ ಯುವರ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಇಂದ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ IAS ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ? ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಐತೆ ಹಬ್ಬ ಇವಾಗ? ರೈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್. ಗುಡ್. ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್, IAS ಅನ್ನೋದು ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್. ಗುಡ್. ರೀಸೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಶುರು ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಇನ್ ದಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಡೇಸ್? ಓಕೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದು ಹಂಗೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಸಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇಯರಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಯರಲ್ಲಿ, ಫೈನಲ್ ಇಯರಲ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಯಾರು ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕೈ ಎತ್ತಿದ್ರಿ? ಸೊ ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ? ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಿ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂತ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ reality. So most of the people, when they come for admission, when we do counseling, so ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ they will say that, it has been my childhood dream, right? So whether father or mother, somebody might have started this, or they might have seen a DC or IPS or Prithvi movie or something. So then that might have started. But when I ask, okay, the dream was there, IAS ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು, but did you do anything with respect to that? To go near to, achieve that goal, or to just go near to the goal? Did you do something antanda? So most of them say academics I was good. I tried to study well in the college, in the school. So what about general knowledge? Right? Did you participate in any debate, quiz? Did you do any writing? Most of them say no. When it comes to newspaper reading, almost everyone says that they are yet to start reading the Hindu or any other English newspaper, right? And all of you are on the same page, I think. So you just have to, you might have started like 1 week ago, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, but most of you have to start. Some people wait for that also, how to read newspaper class, right? So even though you start reading, then again to understand what exactly to do, you need to have certain clarity. So that also anyway we are going to do. For all of you, there are going to be special classes. So how to make notes, how to read newspapers, how to read NCERT textbooks, how to write answers within, how to write answers, how to write introduction, how to write body, and then essay also. Especially for OGP students, we are starting essay classes sooner. Like I think for you in another 2 to 3 weeks, even though you are totally freshers, we are going to start essay classes in the very beginning only, right? And then as you know, every week, every Sunday you are going to have weekly tests, both prelims and mains, and every day answer writing and every day mini test will be there. What I have noticed is that those who are regular with answer writing every day, those who are regular with weekly test, they are the ones who actually clear prelims in their first attempt, right? Those who are, when I say regular, it is like 70 to 80%, right? Not like 100%. So not a single student in any of the batches, I don't think, have written all the tests every week. Very rare. So you just have to be consistent to the extent of 70 to 80%. So even if you achieve 60% of consistency, so you are in the right direction, right? So welcome to the orientation. So what do you understand by orientation? What is the meaning of the word orientation? Introduction. Okay. Then? Showing the direction. Who said that? Good. Correct. Like, orienting you towards to the new challenge, totally new process that you are about to embark, about to start. So most of you might have learned something based on toppers videos, various YouTube content, various articles. But in this session, I am going to give you almost perfect clarity about what you have to do, what you should do, and what are the challenges that you are going to face, and how to overcome those challenges. At the same time, I am going to talk about brutally, in an honest way, about the reality of this competition. Right? Everyone sitting here is not going to crack this examination. Right? That is the reality, right? But everyone can crack this examination. Everyone sitting here can actually crack this examination, but everyone is not going to crack this examination. So in the course of orientation, you will learn why. But if you learn why, when I start talking about entire process, competition, and internalize those lessons, right, and remember those words and implement them, you can actually crack this examination, right? So over a period of 11 years, now when I started this institution in 2014, so I started with 40 students. So during that time, there was no classroom teaching for them. So I never came and did orientation, I never came and taught them any single lecture. So it was basically an idea where I was very fond of this idea that to achieve success, so first we have to realize our own capability, right? Nam samarthya ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. There is potential in us, there is capability in us. We should first realize that we have that, right? And then we have to develop it. We have to strengthen it. That innate potential, innate capability, we have to develop it. So to develop that capability, to strengthen that capability, so you need to have opportunities around you, right? You need to have such an environment around you where you realize your potential. So with that in mind, what I used to do during, when I say I, so I was alone when I was running that batch. So what I used to do, I used to give them every day test, both prelims and mains, like 10 questions, 10 mains questions every day, 20 to 30 prelims questions every day. So I used to give them assignments, right? Pre-reading, you have to read these many lessons, this much part of the book. So usually I would recommend only the standard textbooks. So I would never refer them Spectrum. I would always ask them to read Bipin Chandra original book, right? And then if it is medieval, there is another book like Satish Chandra. So if it was ancient history, I was asking them to read Romila Thappar's book in 2014. Now nobody buys Romila Thappar's ancient history. Nobody reads. I don't think even history optional people actually read that book. But it was selective chapters, not the entire book, right? If I knew that chapter on Buddhism was excellent in that book, a chapter on Indus civilization was very good, right? So I would recommend that chapter. I would ask them to read thoroughly and come next day. On that, based on previous year question papers, based on last 2 to 3 year current events, I would give them questions. So in 1 hour they had to write 10 answers. This was in 2014, right? So and then would evaluate personally. So what happened in the very first batch, out of 40 students, only around 15 to 20 stayed back. Not everyone was capable of writing 10 answers every day. They realized it, right? So they quit. So another 15 to 20, they realized they are capable of answering these many questions, right? Some of them stayed back. So among that batch, we got 5 ranks, including All India rank 8, All India rank 26, All India rank 34, All India rank 95, and All India rank 395. Right. So they realized, maybe they knew that they had the potential. What they wanted was opportunity to write, opportunity to get evaluated, opportunity to get mentored, and a very competitive environment in the classroom, that there were friends who were capable of writing those many answers. So when you see that one is capable of writing 10 answers, though in 1 hour nobody would ever write 10 answers. So they were usually writing 5 to 6. There was one girl who started writing 8 to 9, and eventually in the end she also started writing 10. So when the pattern was changed in 2013, so they had given 25 questions in mains, not like 20 questions, right? So that is why I was making them write 10 questions in 1 hour, so that in 3 hours they were capable of writing 25 answers. So when you see that your friends, right, your peers, classmates maybe, right, they are capable of doing so, so then you get motivated, and then you also try to do that. So when you try to do that, you need a push, right? Because you try and then you will fail, and that when you fail, there should be somebody to support you, again push you, right? So we did that, we got excellent result, and next year another 35 ranks. In 2016, All India rank for Nandini Kr, she was also part of the core batch. So over a period of years, we have retained that so-called core batch, and then we started combining conventional foundation course elements of core batch. So that is when this OGP came into existence. So there is everyday answer writing, but those 40 people who came in that batch, they were except I think 3 to 4, they were not totally freshers. They had already taken coaching, they had already done some preliminary reading. So they were able to read fast, understand fast, remember things, and then they were able to come and write. But in your case, you need certain basic foundation. So I cannot force you to write those many answers. But even then, as I said, elements of core batch. So every week you have a test, 10 questions. Instead of every day, every week. And every day I would recommend you to, anyway, we are giving you one question. But my personal suggestion is that going forward, once you become comfortable answering one question every day, you should start writing 4 answers incrementally. Increase it to 2 answers, and then 3, and then 4. So one from the class, one from the previous year question, 2 questions from our daily secure initiative. Have you seen that on our website there is an initiative called daily secure answer writing? So what we do is that every day we post questions from daily current affairs. So mainly from the editorials, right? So editorial, what do you mean by editorial? Like, you see that the Hindu, almost middle of the Hindu, you have opinion page, right? So opinion is about the issues that are happening around us, both local, national and international. So the editorial team, they themselves, write their opinion. The left part, 2 articles. So it is the opinion of the editorial board. What the Hindu thinks, what the Deccan Herald thinks about that particular issue. So they are informing the citizens about their opinion, their stance. They may agree, they may disagree, they may give certain suggestions also. And then there is column by an expert, right, in respective field, and they also have permanent columnists. Every paper will have a few reputed columnists. So they have their own opinion. So they basically analyze the issue, right? So any issue that is there, they analyze the issue. And when they analyze the issue, so within the analysis, you will see their comments, their opinions, right? So we see in the mains questions, critically comment, critically examine, analyze, critically analyze. That thing is done every day in the newspaper, right? So if you are looking for a model answer, so don't look into the copy of the toppers. Look at that day's editorial, right? Now when you look at the editorial, there should be questions in your mind, right? So we frame questions on those editorials and we post in the secure initiative. So now these questions are framed based on that day's editorials on the variety of issues. So when you read the question, then you start thinking about it, right? You want to know more about the issue because you may not be having the knowledge about the issue. You may be lacking the basic concepts related to the issue. So you have to start reading, right? And we frame questions in such a way that you won't get answer directly from that article. So maybe 30-40% of the content related to that question might be there in that article, but something else required to complete the answer. The remaining, you have to do research, right? You have to show more curiosity, you have to explore the internet, other sources, and complete the answer. So the idea of secure initiative was that instead of passively reading the newspaper, passive reading is what? Like every day everyone does the same thing. You read editorial to read editorial. I mean, not to understand, you try to understand because you struggle to understand. But once you understood the editorial, what next? What do you do with that? How many of you started reading newspapers seriously? Oh, wonderful. ಬೇರೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಓದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ? ದರ್ಶನ್ ಜೈಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಎಡಿಟೋರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದಿರಲ್ವಾ? ಎಸ್. So when you read, you have to read, right? So when you read these editorials, what most of the people in the competition from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh, from almost every part, majority of the people who think they are preparing for the examination, they are merely reading, right? So there is reading, there is learning, right? And there is understanding, and then there is repeating or reproducing that content. So what you understood, reproducing that knowledge, right, in a different context, right, in a different dimension, not exactly as it is. This exam is not about repeating what you have gained, the knowledge exactly as it is in this examination. This is not about, repeating. So that is the rote learning which we have done so far in our schools, colleges and universities, right? Like engineering, you will know that you are not going to fail. Like if whatever things they give your professors, if you read them, right? In any institution, any college, the current education system, the things are predictable, right? So in the annual exam, in the semester exam, you will know that if I read this much, I am going to certainly pass this examination. But adunnu odakagalla. So there is certainty, even then many people don't fail it because wrong priorities. So if you read that, you are going to pass. But in this UPSC examination, the very first challenge you have to conquer is how to beat uncertainty, right? How to be in that uncertain environment every minute, every day, and then become familiar with that uncertainty, and then beating that uncertainty. If you have to master that, that is the biggest challenge, right? Are you getting this point? So you are reading something, this will happen to you every day and every week in Insights IAS. So you have read something yesterday. In the class, they might have taught something about Vijayanagara Empire. So tomorrow the question we are giving, you are not going to answer based on yesterday's class, totally, right? You should have done some extra reading, going back your home, by reading maybe NCERT, by going through previous year question papers. If you haven't done that extra reading, then you are not going to fully answer the question. And you are not going to fully answer the preliminary MCQs in the preliminary exam every Sunday. Similarly, all the 10 questions, you will see that out of 10 questions, 2 or 3 are very familiar. Even though we have completed the syllabus in that week, you will see that 2 to 3 are familiar, but remaining are somewhere you have seen, you have heard, but you don't know enough content to write 150 to 250 words. So the moment you gain the confidence that even though these questions are new, you are still able to answer them because you have done extra reading, because you have started thinking in that direction. So then the actual confidence of cracking this examination comes to you. It gets built within you. Did you get this point? So this is the extremely a most important aspect of this competition. You cannot predict things here anymore. Before 2019, people would predict the most important topics for prelims, right? And in fact, after preliminary examination was over, on our website we would proudly say that 80 questions from our test series got repeated. Now we don't do that. Nobody, no coaching institution in India dares to do that. We cannot do that. We can claim the topics got repeated. But earlier questions were getting repeated. Right? With slightly different options, we would see that, questions were getting repeated. No, not like that. So the coaching institutions with their so much of, content team, research team, everything, if they are able to not exactly predict this question is going to come. Right? So what about an individual aspirant? Right? So there are people who think that individually I can sit and prepare for this examination. The very idea of UPSC is to destroy the coaching, but what is happening is that you need guidance. Right? You need an environment where experienced people have to guide you regarding, what to prepare, what not to prepare, how to choose things, how to be in the right direction. So now the Secure Initiative, in addition to that, there is also daily current affairs quiz, and also there is static quiz on our website. So these initiatives combined together, those who have relied on them, so many, I don't know how many toppers, anonymous, because they visit the website and they write answers using some pseudonym. They post their answers, and people review, we also review. It has been a tradition for past 11 years. So there are hundreds of, like if I visit UP, right, so one SP would come and tell me, I used to write answers on your website. And my brother or sister was doing the same. So we are immensely thankful for your initiative, your website. And I have heard this so many times wherever I have traveled. And I feel really proud. But there are known examples. The 5th rank Srushti Deshmukh. Right, she was a regular contributor on our website, Secure Initiative. Even today, if you go and ask, she would recommend that Secure Initiative for answer writing. I think 2 months ago, we had a session. Her husband, Nagarjun Gowda, had come here to take a session. She also came live that day. So she recommended. So Insights has this initiative. You do answer writing regularly. And when you are part of the OGP, right, so you have opportunity to get them evaluated in person through your mentors, right? If it is essay, I am going to evaluate, and there are 2 other mentors who will be evaluating essays, and it doesn't matter how many answers you write every day, we will evaluate all the answers, right? So that is part of the OGP, and we in fact encourage you to do that. Without mastering answer writing, without mastering the writing, you are not going to crack this examination currently, right? What writing does is that writing makes you think, right? Helps you think better, develops that thinking capability, not only just any kind of thinking. So earlier I was talking about the Hindu, any editorial for that matter. So every opinion piece will have analysis, but it will also have elements of critical thinking, right? So there is critical thinking, there is analytical thinking. In the current scheme of examination, right, if you want to crack UPSC and become IAS, right, you have to master critical thinking and you have to master analytical thinking. So now what is critical thinking? Making an informed judgment, right, based on all the facts, being more objective and having a strong opinion based on the facts. So you have your original opinion, right, very objective one, unbiased one, based on the facts, based on the knowledge you have. So that is the critical thinking. Analytical thinking, ability to look into an issue deeply, right, by dividing it into multiple parts and then establishing a relationship between each part. Every issue is not a single issue. I mean, it's not composed of a single element. Every issue will have so many factors, so many elements. Whether it is related to life science, whether it is related to environment, whether it is related to society, economy, geography, every issue will have multiple components. So you should have that ability to see those multiple components, divide it into multiple parts, and then closely examine each part. When we say examining each part, right, the truthness of it, the facts related to that, the concepts related to that particular element, everything you should be clear. So then you bring them together, right, and then you give it a shape. So in editorial you see that. So they have a issue, right, so they look very closely into the issue. Before arriving into a critical thinking part, they do the analysis and then they present their opinion. So this must be developed by you. So merely reading every day is not going to help. Merely making notes out of newspapers from the classroom is not going to help. If at all you want to crack this examination, all the three stages of the examination, prelims, mains and interview, in the current scheme of examination are thoroughly testing these qualities. In addition to that, your ability to make decisions, your ability to change, adapt to uncertain situations, right, strong presence of mind. So all these qualities are tested. So this exam is no more about, rote learning, having something, prepared by a topper or institution, relying on that, reproducing it. So never expect any result by doing that. So you may crack prelims, you may go to mains, you may crack mains, but at all, if at all you are targeting only IAS or only IPS or Indian Foreign Service, so you see it is required for all the services. But if at all you are ambitious, you want to be in top 100 or in top 10, these qualities are must. So when I am doing mock interview, whenever I ask questions, so I totally refrain from asking factual questions. I don't like to ask factual questions. I mainly ask the so-called open-ended questions, analytical questions, to see how a candidate can think in that moment, right? In the moment of pressure, in the moment of the interview, where he or she doesn't have any clue about what is going to be my next question. They don't have any clue, right? In prelims you have questions, in mains you have question, next question you know. But when I'm doing interview, they absolutely lack knowledge about what is going to be my next question, right? So that's a lot of pressure. So in that moment, you have to listen to the question, you have to understand the question, you have to, while listening to the question, you have to frame your answer, right? And then, while framing the answer, you have to organize your thoughts, you have to prioritize, right? The most thoughtful, the best point to the irrelevant. You have to irrelevant, you should not say, or the very generic point, the very obvious point, right? You have to remove that also. It is all happening in 5 to 6 seconds. I am asking a question. Sometimes question can be 10 seconds, even 1 minute also. So during that time you have to organize your thoughts and then you have to communicate. Again within less than a minute. So all the knowledge you have gained during the course of this preparation, right? The ultimate test is during the interview, right? You have to filter the best content, best ideas, best thoughts, and then you have to communicate. So to arrive there, right? Eventually, I hope most of you will go to Delhi to UPSC to give this interview. So when you arrive there, right, you have to be the best in this particular aspect, in communicating your ideas. Before that, you have to be best with respect to thinking about the ideas. So I will ask a random question, like, I am fond of asking, bringing two different concepts together and, testing how they think about it. For example, I ask, okay, what is the relationship between culture and democracy? Or I ask, what is the relationship between inequality and freedom? Right? Can anyone answer? What is the relationship between freedom and inequality? Everybody knows what is freedom. Everyone here knows what is inequality. So majority people, when I ask the question, they define both. So freedom is this, inequality is this. What my question is not about defining. I am not asking him to define what is freedom. My question is very clear. What is the relationship between freedom and inequality? They have heard the question right, but they have to say something. So this habit they developed because of this rote learning. And also in mains, people have tendency to fill the page with what they know rather than what is asked in the question. You will also face the problem. Instead of answering the demand of the question, you will start answering what you know. You look at a keyword in the question, suddenly you recall something you read somewhere. You know what is freedom, you heard about it so much. So you write 2 paragraphs about freedom. And then in inequality, you will write. But the question is asking about the relationship. I have asked this question, it is already more than 1 minute. So how many of you were able to think about the relationship between freedom and inequality? Tell. It's a very easy question, right? Yeah, be loud, yes. Freedom cannot be enjoyed in an unequal society. Very good, excellent. Then, can you give an example for that? Like during which time? So what about now, like currently? Do we have inequality? Yes or no? So he said that freedom cannot be enjoyed when there is inequality. There is inequality. So what about which freedom you are not able to enjoy currently? Yes? So you are right, correct. Tell me which freedom you are not able to enjoy. Correct. So now because of economic inequality, which freedom you are not able to enjoy? Or because of social inequality in your village, which freedom you are not able to enjoy? Huh? Correct. Good. See now all of you are thinking. Then which other freedom? Sometimes freedom of expression in villages, in your home, if there is patriarchy, right? If there is gender inequality in your home, right? So you are not allowed to speak out your mind. You are not allowed to express your opinion, maybe about issue related to home or issue related to village. If it is issue related to village, right? Maybe lower caste people are not allowed to raise their voice, talk about, right? So we see that every village, even now it is present, right? So but again we cannot just generalize that every freedom is not available. So there may be political freedom is available. Everyone is allowed to vote, right? Nobody will say that you belong to this caste, you cannot vote. It has never happened, right? So there is political equality, or you can say freedom also, political freedom. So there is an idea, he gave a wonderful statement that in an unequal society you cannot enjoy certain freedoms. So that becomes the own relationship. So now I will expect, okay, one more point, right? You gave one very good idea. So can you think further and can you give me one more point? In the real interview if I ask, just think and answer. Freedom increases. When freedom increases, inequality also increases. How? Just sit and answer, it's okay. But again, there are certain restrictions to all the freedoms. So what we are talking about is absolute freedom, right? So when there is absolute freedom, but again, what is the inequality here? Very good. So you can relate it with economic inequality, monopoly, right? And then yes, tell me. In political also you see that when too much of power is concentrated in one hand. So you can relate freedom with respect to that. When you give an individual kind of freedom, to concentrate more power, of course there is going to be inequality of various sorts. So that is also another point. You got it? So now we are discussing in a classroom, so everyone is able to contribute, and then that stimulates your thinking. You will think further and you will try to come up with your own idea or an example, right? Example to substantiate is the idea or her idea. You start relating, right? You start thinking about it. So this particular thinking process should become very strong. It should become instant, right? When you are writing an essay, right, to write an introduction, this thinking should be swift. It should be sharp, quick. When you write body, so when you write your first point in the answer, you should know that the answer you are writing is something very relevant to the demand of the question, at the same time most important point, not just any point that comes to your mind. So when you are writing, they should be thinking. So when you conquer this thinking and organizing your ideas, writing, so it happens in prelims, filtering out your knowledge, ideas, choosing the best one. So in prelims, the answer is in front of you. There is a MCQ question, multiple choice question. The answer is in front of you. You just have to choose the right answer, right? So there is also thinking process. It can be elimination, it can be intelligent guessing, it can be logical deduction, inference, right? Correlation, something like you are thinking intensely to arrive at the right answer, but that is in front of you. And then because of this, what people do in prelims, they just try to familiarize, right? Anyway, I just have to be familiar with the basic facts, basic concepts. The answer is going to be in front of me so that I can eliminate. So now that is gone in prelims. In the current scheme of prelims, you cannot easily eliminate. Have you noticed it? The options are close, even the options are becoming deep, analytical. So it is testing deeper understanding of a topic or an issue even in prelims. So there is so much thinking involved. There is so much of recollection of facts. And if you are seeing 2021-22, 22-23 paper especially, so they introduced a new form of question, right? Only one pair is correct, two pair is correct, something like that. So which meant you cannot eliminate there. You have to be 100% certain about the answer. No logic, no commons, nothing is going to work. You have to be sure shot that this is the answer. Which means while preparing for this examination, particularly for the topic, you should have read it multiple times. You should have written about it, some answers or something. It should be internalized, right? It should be like back of your hand. They say back of your hand, but nobody knows the back of their hand. There is an idiom, like English ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಇಂಟರ್ನಲೈಸ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಇಂಟರ್ನಲೈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಲಾಂಗ್ process and very intense, rigorous process. Morning to evening you have to be in this zone, right? In the zone of constantly reading, learning, understanding, thinking, applying. Only then you can make it 1 or 2 attempt process. But if you take entire year only to read, understand and make notes, right? And another year to start improving basic answer writing skills, right? So the process will take minimum 5 years. But if you integrate everything from the day one, right? So that is why we don't divide, like we don't have any separate prelims batch. We don't like separately do a mains batch, right? So it's a totally integrated. Your preparation must be integrated from day one. You have to develop, first realize, discover that capability. Do you think do you have that capacity or capability? Do you think you have that? ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಒಂದಿನ ಕೂತು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹಿಯರ್, right? Because somewhere you thought that you can crack this examination, you dreamt about it, so then you have come to Bangalore to Insights IAS to take it further, right? To take it forward. So that realization is there, and you have cracked an entrance exam also, most of you sitting here, and then you got selected also, right? So you have realized it. Now don't be a normal self the way you used to be earlier, right? From today onwards you have to be, in a day it is not possible, to become someone else. You have to slowly, as I said, strengthen, develop that capability in such a way that in your imagination, in your thoughts, in your dreams, you have to see within you a personality that is, taking crucial decisions as a IPS officer, as an IPS officer, as an IAS officer, maybe Indian Foreign Service, right? You have to become like that. So you will become like that only when you, indulge with that kind of activities every day, right? When you talk like that, when you discuss issues with your friends, right? Even with family, even during a phone call, they should be able to see maturity in your, right, in your conversation. So sometimes I get that feedback, after 6 months here, my son or daughter, we feel proud the way he or she is, talking now. She has become more mature, more thoughtful, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಜಗಳ ಆಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಮುಂಚೆಗಿಂತ, right? Some people take it to extreme. There is another extreme level, right? So those who are enjoying this process, they become mature, right? But those who, go away from this, get distracted, diverge, right, from this preparation, they quarrel every day with their parents, right? Because of insecurity, because of self-doubt. What happens when you lose your confidence, right? When you become insecure that what you are doing is not yielding result, and you are constantly thinking about the future. How is it going to be? Whether you are going to crack this examination, right? So Indian society is a very complex society, right? It has every element that can, put lots of pressure on you, right? Even though you don't want, but there are things that will constantly put pressure on you. You know that, right? So your friends will start earning like within few months, and then you will. Do you know that you are going to be minimum 3 years unemployed from today onwards if at all you have chosen this field to do full-time preparation? Are you aware of that? Now you can choose to work and prepare, that is up to you. But if you have chosen to completely prepare, you have chosen to stay unemployed for minimum 2.5 years. You know that, right? Did you think about this way? Did you give confirmation like inside to yourself and also society, everyone? Now we are in the March, right? March to May, the preparation cycle, and then May to May is the examination cycle, right? So when you want to write examination next year, so that 1 year examination, add to that this 1.5 years, right? So 2.5 years, and that is up to that is your choice totally, like fully unemployed, without working anywhere, without earning a single rupee, totally dependent on your parents' money, in some cases friends' money, government money, right? So of course stipend is there, but still, so you are not working, employed, right? So usually what happens, your friends, maybe I assume that you in your respective colleges, in your respective courses, in your respective colleges, you used to be toppers. Not everyone, but majority, I assume, because if you are ambitious, right, there may be other people who used to top, there may be other people who are not so brilliant as you are, So they start earning huge money, like eventually, and they start posting their photos, videos of going to trips, and all those things. So I heard lots of stories how it puts lots of pressure on people. Comparison starts. So 1 year you are away from the home, the parents start asking the question. So these are unintentional, unintended, right, unexpected, something like you unforeseen. You're not thinking about them, but they keep coming at you. So during that time also, can you stay totally focused? Right? Even with all the things happening around you. So this is something related to personal. Now some of you will be so much worried about what is happening in Nagpur. Some of you will be so much worried about what is happening in Manipur. Some of you are so much worried about what is happening with Donald Trump. Right? Some of you will be like so much, I mean, you spend discussing about it. You get enraged about the things happening, things that are not under your control. Right? So part of your mind is constantly thinking about that also. So sometimes that disturbs you. Some issues naturally disturb us. Right? They should disturb us. Anybody who has conscience, Atma Sakshi. So they should get disturbed. I'm not saying it should not be. But even then, can you come back to your preparation and continue the preparation, stay focused? So these are the challenges that you are going to face every day. Right? It is not that easy. When I say right answers every day, when I say stay focused every day, it is not easy at all. So among all of you sitting here, only 2 to 3 people are capable of doing that. I mean it. It can be you, it can be you, it can be anyone. Right? But not everyone. Staying consistent every day. Like morning, let us say you wake up at 6 o'clock. For half an hour you do all the daily chores. It is called chores. Right? So daily activities, and then half an hour maybe yoga, walking or jogging, and then 1 hour revising yesterday's whatever happened. Right? And then maybe coming to the class, staying totally focused in the class even for during those 3 hours. Right? Without getting distracted. And then learning effectively in the class, making notes of what you have learned in the class, going back and further revising it, reinforcing it and learning extra from the textbooks. Right? Maybe after your lunch. And then reading that day's current affairs. Right? So that is over. Then again you take a small break and then you have to take up the current affairs. You have to understand what is written there. Most of the issues because of lack of a proper knowledge of economy, polity, right? So you will be able to, you have to spend more time in understanding those issues. Right? Some people leave them. They think that after polity, I'll start reading about these issues. Don't do that. Every day, you have to give extra time for yourself. Right? So that extra time that you are giving by yourself out of curiosity, out of keenness to learn more, is the most important part of your preparation. Right? So that is what will help you deal with the uncertainty in the examination. So if you are not, you are getting this point, all of you. Currently what I am telling, are you getting this point? So this part is the most important part. Not learning what is taught in the class, right? What is predictable, but out of your curiosity, the extra steps you have taken, the extra mile you have traveled, right? Extra effort that you have put every day, that is the most significant part of your daily preparation. So that if you continue, so that is where the secure initiative I was talking about. So if you pick up a question, we will read editorial and we will, force you to read another editorial. It is not given as a reference, but you have to read. You have to learn. Maybe you have to open another reference book or something, and then you have to create an answer. So if you continue with this this particular thing every day, when the mains examination comes, out of 20 questions, you will be in a position to answer all 20 questions. Right? Some of them, even if you haven't read per se, like directly, so you will be in a position to synthesize a relevant answer. It might lack certain facts, it might lack certain data, but conceptually, right, So you will be able to generate an answer. Similarly in prelims also, you will be eliminate more. So when it comes to prelims, like all of you dream of cracking prelims, right? In your very first attempt, right? So have you heard the word intuition? Intuition. What is the meaning of intuition? Gut feeling, yes. So what is the meaning of gut feeling? Yeah? Okay, you can do it and you will be doing it. Okay. Now, when you look at a prelims question, right? So as I said, the answer is in front of you. Suddenly you have a gut feeling, right? You might not have totally, read about that particular thing, but you have a gut feeling, instinct, right? Intuition that this might be the right answer, and then you start thinking, elimination. If this is the right answer, why this is the right answer, right? So you try to think about concepts. You try to see if other sentences don't make any sense to eliminate, right? They may be factually incorrect, logically incorrect, conceptually incorrect. So you try to, right? So the intuition is something, the very first feeling. If the very first feeling is wrong, right? If the intuition itself is wrong, then the logic, the thinking can also be wrong. Not in all the cases, in many cases. Are you getting this point? So when you start solving a question, first you have to strengthen your intuition, and the intuition gets strengthened when you have lots of experiences behind it, right? You should have faced that kind of situation thousands of times, right? So some people will have like strong instinct, strong gut feeling. Okay, this party is going to win, right? This party is going to get these many seats. So this might happen in this particular scenario, right? This may be the possible outcome. So they will have certain, with respect to stock market also, because they are constantly involved in that particular domain. So they will develop a strong instinct, strong intuition. So in your case, you have to develop. Again, I am not saying that in the preliminary examination, just because of the instinct, you should mark the right answer. That is just the beginning of the thinking, right? So in prelims, you will realize that in many cases, in some cases, not many cases, after coming out of the examination, your gut feeling was right, but sometimes your overthinking got the answer wrong. If you are given prelims, if you are given MCQs, you will know that. But after coming out of the exam, what I first thought was the right? So you have to start trusting that gut feeling, the instinct. So for that, you have to do lots of practice every day. So that's what I was trying to arrive. Basically familiarizing with as many concepts, as many facts, again and again, repeatedly. Right? So rely on few sources. Don't try to diversify too many sources. If you want to diversify sources, you have to repeatedly read the diversified sources. Mere one-time reading of diverse sources will not help you. It's just a mere familiarization. It is not going to help you think deep. If you only want to think deep, eliminate or recall and write answers, create an essay out of totally abstract topic. You know that, right? Essay topics. Can anybody give me a essay topic of last year? UPSC Mains essay topic. ನೋಡಿದಿರ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳಿ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ ಒನ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್. ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ತಂದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಮೊಬೈಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ ಎನಿ essay topic, just last year or before last year. Just glance through them. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path ಅಂತೆ. ಸಂತೋಷಕ್ಕೆ ದಾರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸಂತೋಷನೇ ದಾರಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ 1200 ಪದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಬಂಧ ಬರೆಯಿರಿ. In 1200 words you have to write an essay for the topic. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. ಏನು ಬರೀತೀರಿ? ವಾಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಒನ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು, 1200 words. So imagine yourself in the essay paper, writing essay paper in the mains examination. In ಬೇರೆ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ? So there are 3-4 similar topics. Correct. Very good. The empires of the future will be the empires of the mind ಅಂತ. Right. ಭವಿಷ್ಯದ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅನ್ಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅಥವಾ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ? ಆಯ್ತು, ತಲೆ. The futures of the future empires are empires of the mind anta, right? So that is another topic. Then yes, the doubter is a true man of science anta. The doubter ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೌಟೇಶ. ಒಂದು ಅರಾವಿ ಬರ್ತೈತೆ ಅದು ಸಿಲ್ಲಿಲಲ್ಲಿ, ನೀವು ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸತ್ತೆ ಯಾರು. ಈ ಮತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದೇನೋ ಗೊತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಸಿಲ್ಲಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಡೌಟೇಶ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಡೌಟ್ ಪಡೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ ಡೌಟೇಶ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಸೊ ಇಯರ್ ಡೌಟರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ರ್ಯಾಷನಲ್, somebody another word is being inquisitive, being curious, somebody who asks right questions because of curiosity. So he is the true man of science ಅಂತನಾ? ಓಕೆ. ದೆನ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಕರೇಜ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಪವರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದಿದೆ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿ ನಲ್ಲಿ. So nearly all men can stand adversity to test their character, give them power, right? So nearly everyone can actually stand adversity, that is challenge, but to test your character we should give you power. So power corrupts antan basically, right? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So there is another code. I think that also had come as an essay topic. So now if you see these essays, so you cannot write directly something that you learn about geography, environment, economy, right? Science and technology. I'm talking about directly. You cannot directly write something you have noted down in your notebook from the class or from wherever, from the reference books. So imagine yourself sitting in the essay session in the classroom in the mains examination. So when you have to write 2 essays in 3 hours, so we suggest brainstorm about the topic for 15 to 20 minutes about one topic, write about it, and then another 15 to 20 minutes brainstorming and write. So you have around 1 hour to write a 1200 word essay, half an hour thinking about organizing your thoughts. So in 1 hour you have to write 1200 words. So most of the words you write in that moment are actually born out of in that moment. You are creating them, not merely words. You are creating some stories, you are creating arguments, ideas, right? You are creating some justifications, and in that moment you are able to recall certain things you prepared also, something relevant, maybe a quote, maybe a poem, maybe certain examples, right? We call contextualization, like you understand some historical context, try to link this topic with certain historical event or something, maybe a social context. So you will take example from society and then you will try to link it. So basically in that moment you are trying to, right, create something. So there's creativity, right? So we were talking about freedom, like when you have freedom, then only you can be creative, right? So here when you are in the examination, you have to give freedom to your mind in that moment. So the mind should not be in a cage, in the sense that no, I haven't prepared about this topic previously, right? So this topic is totally new, I don't know what to write. So you go blank. I see it happens in the interview also. Some people go blank in the mains examination, provided they haven't done any practice. So for that, I was talking about, so you are going to be forced, right? The way the examination is evolving is that we call it as unpredictability, but the very intention of the examination is they are selecting those candidates, right? So who are able to, who are creative, right? Who have understood, everything that is there in this syllabus, all the issues happening around them in a deeper way, and then they're able to relate to those issues, they're able to solve real life issues, right, real life problems based on their understanding. So that quality is tested here, the way you take decisions, the way you come up with an idea. So you cannot develop that in the classroom. So outside the classroom, the extra effort you put, right, so becomes a larger effort over a period of year, and then it gets reflected in your answers and in your essays. So essay, but of course there is going to be a class. Essay is not justification of the topic. Most of the people, what they think, when we say that there is no path to happiness, happiness is the path, they give 5 examples or 5 stories to support it, maybe not to support it, another 1 or 2 stories, and then they will give suggestions, right, how to be happy. They are not happy, but they know how. They can tell, how to be happy. They are under like so much pressure, currently unhappy, writing the essay. But in the suggestion, they are writing. Yeah. So this is the usual way people end the essay. Pro topic, against the topic, 1 or 2 examples. And then in the end, so that is not the essay. The essay, as I was talking about, is your opinion, right, about the topic, is about analysis of the topic, right, linking it. You can read entire essay from the literary perspective, right? If you have read novels, maybe Kannada or English, if you have read novels, from novels you can pick up certain characters and link to the topic and analyze how various authors have seen, this particular topic, how various philosophers have seen this topic. So, or if you see from the economic perspective, so largely you can write from the economic perspective also, right, from the perspective of poverty, inequality, deprivation, exploitation, right, you can write from that perspective also. So it depends on your area of expertise and also area of interest. So that is why I personally recommend everyone to develop multiple interests during the course of this preparation. So during the interview, you know that there is something called DAF, Detailed Application Form. You have to fill hobbies bar interests, other extracurricular activities. So they have written that interests. So I usually recommend aspirants to develop 3 broad interests, right? Maybe one related to earlier, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I used to tell develop interest in artificial intelligence, develop interest in climate science, right? Develop interest in, I'm not saying develop interest in technology or environment, but within that a very broad topic, right? So you can develop interest in like within economics, like development economics, or there is something called behavioral economics, right? Or in general about democracy, like you are worried, you are interested in knowing about what is happening to democracy, how it used to be, how it is going to be. So I can ask another question, like what is the relationship between technology and democracy? Who will answer? And I can make it even more specific, what is going to be the relationship between artificial intelligence and democracy? Now what is the relationship between unemployment and democracy? You said unemployment, correct, but you have to relate it back to the topic. Artificial intelligence and democracy. Yeah. Okay. Now that's your opinion. Very good. How? The bureaucracy is part of China's communist regime also. Tell me. No, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. But can you just, so in interview, that is what I say. People give opinion. But can you justify now? Right? And I expect minimum 3 justifications. Hmm? Hmm. Tell me, AI and democracy. AI ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ವಾ? ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಯೂರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್. ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ? ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಯು ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಹೆಂಗೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್? Good. So you are using Twitter regularly. Very good. So you made a very interesting, very important point. So it can change voting behavior. AI can actually change voting behavior. Right. So now what happens eventually? We almost everybody sitting here has a smartphone. Everyone, right? Universally, almost 99% of you have smartphone. Now your smartphone is going to come integrated with AI tools. Every app and separately the AI models also will have AI tools. So now WhatsApp, it is already integrated, Meta, but again in the future it might help you filter out the message to know the veracity of the message, whether it is right or wrong, right? So when it comes to platforms like Facebook and Twitter, so it can create narratives, right? So we have something called echo chamber effect. So you are biased in your opinion, but that biased opinion gets reinforced, right? When you open particular app, so the app knows your opinion already, right? So it can reinforce, it can make you strongly believe in that opinion, without becoming rational, the doubter, right? You don't even ask the question, you believe it. So when it happens in a large scale, right? So those who control the technology can create a narrative, right? If somebody is very close to Elon Musk, right? So they might tell him, okay, see, we are going to invest or we are going to give you certain facilities, certain subsidies or certain incentives. So help us here. Something is happening like this, right? So don't let this happen. Right. So you have to spend resources. So as we speak, today morning I was reading New York Times, like I can show you in the app. So Elon Musk is bribing Republicans in America, right? Those Republicans who want to impeach judges there, right? So ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ you cannot impeach a judge very easily. So there it used to be the case, like Supreme Court in the US is actually more supreme than it is in India, in their democracy. So now what he is trying to do, he is bribe. Basically it's called as fund there, right? Funding them. So he is openly giving them bribe to remove the judges. And he did similar thing with the Donald Trump, right? Now you remove the judges, the ones who act as check and balance, conscience keepers. They are basically they are the ones who protect the constitution, uphold the values, maintain balance between societal morality, constitutional morality. So the court does that. So now you remove them, so you have a perfect dictator, authoritarian, right? So then what happens to democracy when there is authoritarianism, right? So democracy suffers in a way that power gets concentrated, right? So minorities, anybody, right? So whom they dislike, so they start suffering, and then you alienate them. There is something called othering of the people, right? Alienation of the people. So it has happened, most of you are here, it has happened in our country, it is happening every day, right? So to fight against that, what are we going to do, right? So you don't have tools. India doesn't have its own AI model, right? So of course, we can go on debating about it. So you have to develop that ability, right? So to have your own opinion, to analyze, to have strong concepts, to develop that, you should first develop core interest, right? So it can be with respect to moral philosophy, like there are some of the philosophical topics. So you can read philosophy books in your free time, right? Philosophy of happiness, philosophy of power, philosophy. There is a political philosophy with respect to equality, freedom, truth, justice, these concepts. So there is a 11th class NCERT textbook, right? Political theory. So I recommend reading that book compulsorily. Read that book in your spare time every day, at least 1 or 2 pages. So that helps you write essays really well. Secondly, the Sunday magazine by the Hindu or even by Deccan Herald, right? You have the supplement every Sunday. Read that also. And over a period of next 2 years, develop such 2 to 3 interests. The same thing you can put it in your DAF also. And we are more interested in discussing about those topics rather than discussing about badminton or volleyball. Volleyball, how many questions I can ask in interview? In interview, I want to have a conversation, right? So I cannot ask what is the length and breadth of the volleyball field, court, right? What is the weight of the net, right? What is the length of the net, width of the net, height of the pole, what is the circumference of the ball, right? What material it is made up of. After 3 questions, you will get tired, I will get tired. So these are what, like very factual questions, right? So you Google, you have the answer. In 2 minutes, you will learn about it, right? The numbers. So that is not important in a conversation. In conversation, what is important is like doping in sports, right? So why certain sports are excluded from Olympics? Can India host Olympics in coming years, right? But that also only if you are a sports enthusiast, I am a sports enthusiast, we can have. But when it comes to issues like democracy, geopolitics, environmental issues, so I think everyone in the room will be interested. So if you develop core interest in particular topics, the 20 to 30 minutes interview, we can make it revolve around those 2 to 3 important issues, because you would have gained in-depth knowledge about it, right? By the time you reach interview, you would have read so many things about it. You can answer so many questions. We can explore so many dimensions of it. You are getting this point. So in interview, we want it to be like a discussion and conversation. So if you don't develop these interests, your answers are going to be superficial. What is there in that newspaper, you are just merely reproducing in the interview. So my questions will become random, because I know that I cannot explore you further. You lack, there is a shallowness in your answers. So there is a superficiality. So what will I do? Right? I don't show any more interest because you don't have interests. So then I will finish the interview by asking random question. Why did you put IFS in 5th position? Right? Why did you choose this optional? What is special about your district? Right? What is the meaning of your name? You are born in this year. Do you know something happened in that year? This question is okay. Some random questions. You feel tired, and some questions will become confrontational, right? So you graduated in 2024, right? Now we are in 2029. So what were you doing for last 5 years, right? When you lack depth there, then they will ask this question. So when you show depth, at least they know that you have developed some interests, right? And they won't feel like asking those questions to serious students. When they know that the candidate sitting in front of me has lots of ideas to contribute, so I can talk to this individual on so many things, right? So I don't think they will ask such kind of questions, something that tries to put you in a fix. We call confrontational questions, so that they won't ask. So you have to become that individual. So if you are not going to become that individual, that type of individual, every effort you are putting is just surface level effort, and it is not going to help you crack UPSC exam, might help you crack PDO exam, maybe sub-inspector. And unfortunately for some people, that is the ultimate aim also. Some people come for UPSC coaching so that they can crack any government exam. right? So don't be like that. When you are at Insights IAS, dream only about IAS or IPS or IFS. Anybody? IFS, Indian Foreign Service? Forest, very good. Foreign Service, very good. Foreign Service. IPS, good. IPS ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೂವರೆಗೂ IAS. ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮೂರು ಜನ IPS ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಬ್ರು IFS ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್, ಫಾರಿನ್ ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ವಾ ಹಿಂದೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲೇ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ವೈ ನಾಟ್ we usually don't ask why not Indian foreign service. So they say that I want to stay back in India and serve my country. Do you agree with that answer? Why? Why are you disagreeing with that answer? You can stay outside and then also you can work for the country. Correct. But whatever it is, here we are ambitious, right? And our team is ambitious, and we have a system in place here. Mentorship, right? And faculties, every subject is taught equally well, right? Not like geography top notch, quality top notch, environment okay, ancient not. It's not like that. Including world history, ancient, internal security, social justice, agriculture, we have a separate faculty, right? So for ethics, every including essay also, every part of the examination, I mean including interview also, right? Every aspect of the exam, I mean prelims, there are like prelims experts, right? So we keep taking special prelims sessions also. So for every part of the examination, there are highly qualified, highly trained, highly experienced team to help you crack this examination with very good rank, right? And we want you to crack this examination, right? You know the reasons why, right? So they have come from social welfare department here. Right? So treat it as an obligation. Treat it as something that a social responsibility, something that you must do. Is something you must do. You're getting the point, right? The society is not fair, right? When the society is screwed up. So I know, I'm getting to know very closely. The more I travel, the more even yesterday I was in a village, fighting for a certain cause, right? So the more I travel, the more I understand, the more I visit government schools, right? So most of you are from government schools, I think, right? You are a victim. When you are part of the government school, you are a victim, right? There is no other way to put it. You are made victim because the government is not investing in the government schools. What is stopping them from investing in government schools? So there is a village and there is a government school in a village, and we know that most of the students studying in that government school in that particular village belong to the most poor section, and within that we know that like most of the SC, ST, OBC students will be part of that. And you visit any government school randomly, I can assure you that there is no separate toilet for boys and girls. 90% of the schools will not have actually toilets. The data will say that 90% of the schools have. But you randomly, I'll give you as a test, they lack toilets. And majority schools lack desks, for children to sit and study, right? And wherever I see, most of them are barefooted. No shoes, no slippers, right? Torn uniform. And then teachers. So there may be one or two teachers who are running the entire school, right? Shortage of the classrooms. In some schools, there are no boards also, right? Forget about most of the children, even till 10th standard or 12th standard, haven't seen laptop so far. So if you visit any government school, they will wonder, what is laptop or what is a tab or something, right? So and then quality of education. right? The focus on education. I would say the teachers are well trained. I don't say that they are not qualified, but they lack motivation, and every school lacks a library, right? I don't see in any government school, there is a well-established library. Children are going and taking the books and reading in the library. I don't see in any government schools. Right. When you say government school, so government is somebody who has the highest amount of money, right, compared to a private company or an individual, or even including Ambani, people like Ambani. So government has money, but for some reason that money is not going there. I don't know like what is stopping anyone from investing that money. ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ವ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡಲಿ. So I keep thinking about it. Like in some constituencies, MLAs or ministers, so they are worth thousands of crores, right? Some of them earn crores in a single day. There are people even in their constituency visit any government school, right? So if you see the status of a government school, it is pathetic. And somehow you went there, right? You did well despite all those challenges, and then somehow continuing education itself is a challenge. Continued your education, right? And then many of you arrived here, right? So you should not stop at here, right? Take it as a challenge. Get into service, reform those schools, right? Build houses for the poor. So that should be the intention, right? And there are so many injustices, inequality, right? You have faced, your parents have faced. In village, you have seen that, right? So you have that. That is why I said this is a big social responsibility. So you can actually do it. And I am very proud that we have created an institution. We support that kind of people. We push them. So for example, let us say you finish this OGP. So if you want to attend class again, I won't be online. Offline, you are free to come and again attend the classes. If you miss out any some classes, some subject, or if you want PM test series, right? Or if you want to sit and study in the classroom, or if you want mentorship. So after completing this, so don't think that we are not going to talk to you. We are not going to engage you. So you can come anytime. You can show essay. You can show answers even after passing out from here. So we don't charge for that. So that kind of system is put here. The thing is, you have to make use of it, and you have to be very persistent about this. We call perseverance, right? And you have to show lots of patience and learn every day. I said merely learning won't help. Whatever you are learning, you have to implement, and be ambitious, right? Constantly keep thinking about like. Imagine yourself as an all India rank one, right? You can actually become. So I don't see why you can't become. Is there a reason why you can't become? Can you give me one reason why you can't become all India rank one? Could you warrant one reason? Can you become or not? ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? So it might take 5 years, 6 years. Let it take you 8 or 9 years, right? You can actually become, right? You can actually get that all India rank one if you want, but you should know that how clearly you want, right? How strongly you want that particular dream. Once you have dreamt all India rank one, right? Every action of yours, every word of yours should be proportionate to that dream, right? You should eventually reach there in your conduct, in your knowledge, in your wisdom, right? The way you write, everything can be improved. First day when you write, some of you will not write. No, not some, many of you will not write. Don't do that. Just write anything that comes to your mind, right? Take pen and paper, the first question, first class, write anything that comes to your mind, right? Don't stay blank. Don't stay away from taking action. So next day slight improvement will be there, another day another improvement will be there. So eventually in weekly test, in the essay we evaluate, you should have certain benchmark. So last orientation, I had given certain numbers. The numbers which should be constantly there in your mind, right? Like 150 marks for the essay paper, right? So when you write one essay, so if you come to evaluation, right, from me, so you should aspire to get 75 marks from my evaluation. That should be your constant goal. Whenever you write essay, Vinay Sir, 75 marks. And I assure you, if you get 75 marks from me, you are going to easily get 130 to 140 in the real exam. Right? There is no other way of, getting marks. Like you are definitely going to get 130 to 140 minimum marks. You might get 150 also. Right? So because we clearly know that what it takes to get. Similarly, if you go to Umesh Sir, right? So he is also going to teach you essay. So if he gives 65 to 70, again that's an achievement. So that should be like till you get 70, 75 marks consistently. Let's say for 5 to 10 essays, you should keep writing essays. So when you come with your first essay, I might give you 5 marks or maybe 10. In some cases 0. If you have written a totally irrelevant essay, because you didn't understand the topic. So I have given 0 also sometimes. And some people have got 0 in the real exam also. Right? So there are cases where people have got 40, 45, 50 marks out of 250. So one essay they got some marks, another essay they might have written irrelevant, might be 0 marks. So you should not get discouraged and stop writing because you got low marks. Right? So you should challenge yourself. Next essay you should try to write slightly better, some maybe 15-20 marks. And I have seen that those who write around 20 to 30 essay, they usually start getting 60 on an average. Those who write more than 40 essays, I see getting them around 65 range. Very few people get 70 or 75, but there are so many people who get 60 and above. 60 and above, right, in one essay is equal to 120 plus. And if you look at all the toppers, like randomly open rank, all India rank 30, mains marks, you will see their essay marks around between 120 to 130. Right? You can check now also, later also. So 120 plus is an extremely good score nowadays. Right? So minimum that much marks you can achieve. Similarly in GS1, somewhere around 100. So just write down these numbers. 150, where? Which paper? 150 in essay paper, around 100 in paper 1, so 120 in paper 2, GS2. This is mains. Paper 1 100, paper 2 120, paper 3 again 100, paper 4 130, optional 280. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯಿತು ಟೋಟಲ್? 880. Okay, interview 190. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯಿತು ಟೋಟಲ್? So if you get 1070, what could be your rank? ಎಷ್ಟು rank? In top 5. Right? It could be rank 1, rank 2. Right? So even if you minus 20 marks in essay paper, let us say it is 130. Right? And ethics, let us say it is 110. You write another version, I'll tell. Like 130 in essay, I'll write 125 in essay. 125 in essay, 90 in paper 1, 105 in paper 2, 85 in paper 3, 110 paper 4, 250 in optional, 175 in interview. So first tell me the main score. How much it comes to without interview? $125, 95. No, without interview score. 765. So that 765 is still 24 marks more than the general cutoff. General cutoff in mains, right? So 765 plus, so if you score 200 in interview, right? So still in top 150. So if you score 190 in interview, top 250 or something, right? You're still going to get even in general category IPS, right? So the second category of marks, something which I have given, you can easily achieve, easily I am talking about, you can easily get those marks, right? Even if you write only one answer or two answers every day, just write every weekly test, right? Every test, every monthly test that we are going to give, right? And if you put little extra effort in improving presentation, in improving content, updating your notes, right? So add another like 10 to 20-30% extra marks, right? So here you have an environment to get easily in top 250 rank, right? Just by merely following the program. And if you put extra effort and use us, right, you show more essays, get more of them evaluated, you write more tests, get them evaluated. So proportionately you can be in top 100 or top 10 or you can be a rank 1, right? So we know what can get you 150 marks in the essay, right? There is a recipe for it, we know it. So we know how we can get 100 plus in paper 1, 120 plus in paper 2, everything is available here. Are you up to the challenge? So that is the question, right? So that is what this journey is going to be. Ultimately it comes to mental toughness, right? Ability to hold yourself, stay strong, stay focused. The mind, ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ? ಮಂಗ, ಹಂಸಲೇಖನ ಒಂದು ಹಾಡಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಏನದು? ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಮರ್ಕಟ ಅಂತಂದೇನೋ ಒಂದು ನೋಡಿಲ್ವ? ಪ್ರೇಮ್ ಒಂದು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ, ಅವಳೊಂದು ಹಾಡಿದೆ ಅದು, ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಮರ್ಕಟ ಅಂತಂದೇನೋ ಒಂದು. ಅದೇ ಮನ್ಸು ಮಂಗ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಅಂತಂದು. ಮಂಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ? ಕಚ್ಚಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅವರು? So that is the biggest challenge, especially currently when you have only personally so many things happening, in society so many things happening, and in your personal phone, smartphone, right? So many things happening. So adnella ದೂರ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ರೆಸಿಪಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟ್ರೈಡ್, ಮೊಬೈಲ್ನ ದೂರ ಇಟ್ಟು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಮೊಬೈಲ್ನ ಸ್ನ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟಲ್, ಲೈಕ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್, ಅದು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಂತೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ತರಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 5 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಎದ್ದು ಯೋಗಾಸನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ದೆನ್ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಓದ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಡೇ, ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಅದು ಕೊಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತದ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ distractions, fear, whatever, self-doubt are going to be your constant companions, constant friends. ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೆ you have to stay focused, right? ಅವನ್ನ ದೂರ ಇಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಡೂ ದಟ್. ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಆಗಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್, ರೈಟ್? ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲಿವ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್. ವೈ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಏನಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಲಿ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನಿಸ್ಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ನನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ನಂದಿನಿ KR ಥರ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಟೀನಾ ಡಾಬಿ ಥರನೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ನಾನು ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇನಾದರೂ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ನಾನು ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ 10 years ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಕೂದಲು ಇರೋ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಬೆಳ್ಳಗಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಏನೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇನೆ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಐ ಕೀಪ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್, ರೈಟ್? ತುಂಬಾ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕಂತ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವೇಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಯು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅಚೀವ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನಿಸಮ್ ಇವೆಂಚುಯಲಿ, ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಇನ್ ದಿ ವೆರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೈಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನಿಸಮ್ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅದು, ರೈಟ್? ಇವನ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಕಲ್ಪ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಮ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್, ಇವೆಂಚುಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೇಮ್ ಇದ್ದಿ ಎಸ್, ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್, ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪಾತ್, ರೈಟ್? ಈ ಎಸ್ಸೆಗೂ ನಾನೇನು ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡೋದು? ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್? ಸಂತೋಷಕ್ಕೆ ದಾರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೆ. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ವೇ. ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಂತಂದು ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ನೋಬಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ದಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಚಾರ್ವಾಕ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಇದ್ದ, ಇರೋ ಬರೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುಖ ಅನುಭವಿಸಿ ನೀವು ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿರ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲಿಸಮ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸಮನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇ, ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಶಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸಿಗುತ್ತಂತೆ, ಅದು ದುಡ್ಡು ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಈ ದುಡ್ಡು ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕಾಯಕವೇ ಕೈಲಾಸ ಅಂತಂದು, ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದು. ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಕ್ಕರೆ ತಾನೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಕೆಲವರು ದಾನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗೆ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪರಮಾನಂದ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನೊಂದು ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನರ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗು. ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬ್ರೀತ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೀತ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದು. ಬಿಲಿಯನರ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು, ರೈಟ್? ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರವಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪರಮೇಶ್ವರನ್ ತರ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಈಶಾ, ಅದು ಹಂಗೇ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕುಣಿಬೋದು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡವ್ರಂಗೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೆಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲಿ ಅದು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬರೆಯೋದಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅವ್ರು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪಾತ್ ಇದೆ, ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲುಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲಿ. ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬೈಯೋದಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ, ಅಥವಾ ಸಾರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಸ್ಸೇನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರೋ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಟ್ವಿಟ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೋ ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲೋ, ಸದ್ಗುರು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟ ಇವನು ಅಂತಂದು. ಅವನಾರೋ ಒಚ್ಚಿಗೆದ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನೊಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾಡಾಕ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ಸೊಸೈಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಇದು. ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ, ಎನಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಸಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಸುಮ್ಮನಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂತೋಷಕ್ಕೆ ದಾರಿ ಅದು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಯು, ದ ಲೈಫ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ಸ್, ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಬುಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಓದೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕಂತಂದೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವ ಫಿಲಾಸಫರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಓದಿರ್ತೀರ, ಶಾಪನ್ಹೌಯರ್ ಅಂತಂದು ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಫಿಲಾಸಫರ್, ಹಿ ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದು ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕಂತಂದೇನಿಲ್ಲ. without mentioning the name of a philosopher, then also you can go on writing about happiness, right? So take those topics in the beginning which are relatable, about which you have some knowledge. Avana tagondu you can go on writing about it, right? So ee tara just start writing something, right? Nan essay class aadmele I will start writing essay antandre that is wrong. First, you should have curiosity to look into previous year topics. Last 5 year essay topics should be memorized, right? What are the important keywords? The last 10 to 20 years ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ there are important keyword like ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಒಂದು ಪವರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಬಂತು, right? And then there is courage, right? Then the words like happiness, truth, wisdom, knowledge, success, failure, justice, responsibility, right? There are so many keywords, and then you have to learn various things like philosophy of those words, right? Literature related to those words. Many people have written, like big writers, about happiness, about failure, success, knowledge, right? So you can collect some material. Similarly, if you go into GS paper 1, so if you analyze last 10-year papers, you will see that frequently they are asked question about Indus Valley civilization. Frequently they are asked question about Vijayanagara Empire, maybe architecture, maybe literature, maybe the society, how it used to be during that time. Frequently there have been questions on Sangam literature. You will see that. There are questions frequently asked about Buddhism, the various aspects of Buddhism. So you will see a trend, you will see a pattern, right? So if they are embedded within you, internalized within you, your preparation becomes very guided, very specific. It won't be random. You open a paper, if there is something related to Buddhism, you know that this is the most important. So you will learn with more focus, more interest. But if you lack the clarity, so this, again, don't wait for someone to come and teach this. So it should be everyday exercise. Opening previous year papers, learning, knowing more about them should be a regular exercise. So similarly, syllabus copy, right? So you have to read, understand syllabus, and you should develop ability to interpret and analyze syllabus, right? Every topic is not explained in detail in the actual syllabus. So there is art and culture from ancient to modern times. So how are you going to analyze, right? Divide the topic into small micro topics, right? So that comes through previous year topics, previous year question papers, right? And the issues that you see regularly in newspapers. So the syllabus must be thoroughly remembered. Syllabus, previous year question papers, these two are your proper guides. They are better guides than us, right? Those who master these two have already conquered this examination. Previous year question papers and the syllabus. And that should be like everyday routine. So don't wait someone to come and interpret for you. So I have told everything about like daily writing, daily reading, and also develop a quality friendship, right? Andre ದೊಡ್ಡ ಗುಂಪು ಬೇಡ. I don't think you need more than 1 or 2 friends. ನಿಮಗಿಂತ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರೋರನ್ನ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಬರೆಯೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, right? Somebody who is mature, somebody who doesn't get easily distracted, somebody who is like very strong. ಕಾಫಿ ಕರಿತೀರಿ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಕಾಫಿ, ನೋ, ದುಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದಲ್ಲ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಇರ್ತದೆ, ನಾನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಓದಬೇಕು, ಈ ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡು ಅಂತ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸಂಬಡಿ ಕಾಫಿ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೆಫೆ ಕಾಫಿ ಡೇ ಬೇಡ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಓರೆಂಜ್ ಮಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತರಿಂದ ದೂರ ಇರಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅವರು ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬೀಳೋದಲ್ಲ, ನಿನ್ನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ this really matters because you are not going to prepare alone, right? Eventually you will develop some kind of friendship with everyone, and our friendship healthy ಆಗಿರಲಿ, right? Focused ಆಗಿ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, and not just exam, you should be focused on your goal. ಅದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಇಬ್ರು ಜೊತೆಗೆ, IAS ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಈಗ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಬ್ರಲ್ಲೊಬ್ರು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ತಗೊಂತಾರೆ. ಬಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್, ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮಿಷ್ಟಪ್ಪ, ಅದನ್ನ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಿಷ್ಟದು. ನಾವು ನೋಡಿರೋದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಹಾಳಾಗಿರೋದೇ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ಹಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗೋದು ಯಾರು ಭಾಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರಿಪ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಬಾಸ್ನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದನೇ ಝೀರೋಯಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಗಿ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿರೋರು ತುಂಬಾ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಥೌಸಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟಾಪರ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಮಾಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ, ಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸುಖಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಸೊ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬುಕ್ಸು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೋಟ್ಸು, ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್, ರೈಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಇರಲಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವೆರಿ ವೈಸ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮತ್ತು ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಸೇಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್. ಅದು ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟು ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ನೋಡೋಣ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ರೈಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ತನಕ ಹೋಗೋಣ, ನಂಗೆ ಬೇಡ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 26 ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಟಾಪ್ 100 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್. ಆ ಮೈಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಯಾವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ದರ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್, ನಥಿಂಗ್. ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ನಾನು ಫೋಕಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಇದೆ ನನ್ನ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದ್ರ ಪಡಿಗೆ ಅದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಪಡಿಗೆ ಅದು ಇರ್ತದೆ, ರೈಟ್. ದ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಐ ಲೂಸ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರನ್ನ ಬೈಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಗದ್ದಲ ಆಯಿತು, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದು ಕರೆದ್ರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು, ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗಾಗೋಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ರಿಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಏನಾರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟೇ ಫೋಕಸ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸಸ್, ರೈಟ್. ಟೋಟಲಿ ಫೋಕಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರಿ. ಅಗೇನ್ ಆ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ, ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೀಚರ್ ಥರೋಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಭಾಳ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನವರೆಗೂ ನಮ್ ಭಾಳ ಕ್ಲೋಸೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾರಾ, ನಾವೇ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಕಬ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಡಿ ಅಂತಂದು. ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ನೀವು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಟಾಪರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇವು ಮುಗಿತಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ನೀವು ಟಾಪರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲೇಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡು, ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಒಬ್ರು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಮುಂದೆನೂ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ನಮ್ದು ಹಂಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಹಂಗೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಹಂಗೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಫೋಕಸ್ಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟು ನಾವು ಭಾಳ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಹಂಗಂತಂದೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಜಾಬ್, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಹಂಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಯೂಸ್ ದಿ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಶಿಪ್, ಯೂಸ್ ದಿ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಯರ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಏನು? ಎಸ್ಸೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ 105 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್. ನೀವು ಬರ್ತೀರಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬ. ಗಂಟೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಏನೋ ಕೂತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಓಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೇನೋ ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬ. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಬರೆಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. there is no point in talking much. It's all about doing. So you do and then you learn it. You make a mistake and then you learn, and be proud of a maximum number of mistakes that you are going to commit, and be open to committing mistakes, failures. Kelabru, some of you might like, is it okay in between I'm using Kannada words today so much? Any non-Kannadigas here? Illalla, ee batch allilla. Very good. But you understand? You are from? Acha, from Tirupati. Good. Tirupati namde ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಡ್ಡು ತುಪ್ಪ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತುಪ್ಪ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ತುಪ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮೆಂಟರ್ಶಿಪ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಯಾ, ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನ್. ಯಾ, ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. ಮೆಂಟರ್ಶಿಪ್, ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ and being very professional. No, I was not talking about, I was talking about actually making mistakes, right. Commit as many mistakes as possible, be open to mistakes, right. And some of you might be toppers here, right? Suddenly what happens when you don't do well in our prelim test or in our mains test, it affects your confidence. So far you have been able to perform really well in your school, college days. Suddenly you see that your marks are like lowest here, right? So you cannot digest that fact. You cannot, right? So it's a reconciling, with respect to that. So what happens? You take it personally and you stay away from that process because it has hurt your ego. So you stay away from doing that. You feel that you prepare well and then you start giving the test. So don't do that. It's okay to not to do well, even if you are a brilliant individual. Keep learning because this is something new. Even though it is familiar, the whole process is something new, right? So be open to committing mistakes, both in the exam and also outside the classroom. In day-to-day life, mistakes will happen, but don't let that mistake lose your focus. Come back. In some cases, what happens because of the, again, unforeseen situations like health crisis, some like marriage in home, like 1 week, 2 week gaps will be there. Some people take that as excuse and because it is acting as a backlog, right? So heavy burden. So then again they discontinue. So then it's okay to lose 1 week, 2 week. Start from where it is again starting, like you don't have to go back and try to complete the backlog. So don't try to do that in this preparation. You got this point? This is very important. You are going to face it. So the backlog, leave it, right? Again, start from the point where you are restarting. The things you have missed eventually come back later. You are going to face that in some or the other form. You are going to face it. So don't worry about it. If possible, you accommodate little by little in your day-to-day routine and try to complete. But don't think that there is so much to do. So that is why I will not do what is happening. I will focus more on that. By the time you complete that, again there is another big gap that is created. So eventually you will try twice or thrice and then you will stop doing it. So this is the story of thousands of aspirants. I have seen this happening. So be careful about all these things, right? So they are all part and parcel. This journey is beautiful journey. It is going to make real people out of you. It is going to transform your personality. And if at all today I am standing and talking some sense to you and I have achieved little bit in life, it's mainly because of the UPSC preparation. And that doesn't mean you should romanticize UPSC preparation. My suggestion, give one attempt without employment. After your one attempt, either go for higher education or for employment. Compulsorily. Everyone. It can be part-time job, full-time job. But for that, these 2.5 years, right, lay the strongest foundation, right, strongest foundation, complete everything, optional, everything, thoroughly, right, with notes, with hundreds of thousands of answer writing, so many essay practice, everything, complete everything, lay a strong foundation, then go for, there are like so many excellent courses that are coming up in IITs, right, related to humanities, like on public policy and policies related to technology, environment, climate change, cyber security, right. Once you lay this strong foundation, you can actually get admission into those courses. I don't think once the foundation is strong, you don't have to again invest similar, time for preparation in your subsequent attempt. You just have to be updated, continue the practice, 4 to 5 hours every day will be enough, right? Or go for a job, like if you are able to get a better job or any job, continue with the job, your preparation, but don't give up the UPSC, right? But in the first 2.5 years, the one and only focus is UPSC. Prepare for the UPSC level. When we say UPSC level, all prelims, mains, questions, interview type, you have to be good at answering those questions. And then go on writing all the other exams. Now in between, after 3-4 months, KPSC notification will come. You stop UPSC and then you start focusing on the KPSC. So then again you are undermining your preparation. You are weakening your laying of the creation of the foundation, building the foundation. So then you are back to square one, like zero. Right? You are never completing yourself. You are never building a strong foundation. So don't get distracted. keep preparing for the UPSC, apply for the other jobs, other examinations, keep writing them, but without focusing on them. This is a very important suggestion that I would like to give. Otherwise, what happens? Some exam comes, you totally shift your focus. It is also not completely prepared. That is also not completely prepared. Again, when you come back, you feel like zero. Like you feel like you don't know anything. You don't do well in that exam also, in this exam also, right? So don't do that. So next 2.5 years, don't worry about anything, job or anything. Focus. After that, start applying for good courses and job, right? So this is the orientation. So now I hope I have oriented you to the actual UPSC preparation. Hobbies must, right? Develop hobbies. I see majority people nowadays mention meditation, walking, jogging and all. There are varieties of meditation also, right? But again, I cannot talk about meditation in an interview so much. It's good that you do. No, that is helping you. I'm not saying you should not do. But in addition to that, as I said in between, hobbies and interests that we can talk about, right? That is also must. Without interview preparation, you cannot prepare for this examination, right? Only if you prepare for prelims, mains intensely, in interview you are going to score less than 160 marks. You will have so much knowledge you don't know how to put, right? Or you will have so much knowledge which is all superficial, nothing deeper. So I see most of the people from Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they do well. Again, Telangana, they score low marks in the interview. I have analyzed also the scores, right? Or anybody from backward regions. And this language policy is happening everywhere. The debate is going on. So if you ask genuinely, we are not good in any language, right? Neither in English nor in Kannada. Forget about Hindi. Like we are not good in our own mother tongue. Even if I learnt English, we are not good enough. You can't write an answer, right? So language, the grip on language, the hold on language, the language, learning language, strengthening language is extremely important. So reading regularly one Kannada newspaper like Prajavani and the Hindu or Deccan Herald regularly is a must. That helps in improving the language. Though you feel that your vocabulary is weak, there is one beautiful book by Norman Lewis, Word Power. Word Power made easy. So Word Power, W-O-R-D, Word Power made easy. So buy that book, complete all the assignments in it. So it might take you for 50 to 60 days. Word Power made easy by Norman Lewis or Lewis, Lewis, Norman Lewis. Word Power made easy. It's a 130 rupees book, right? So during my preparation, I had bought that book. So though we were decently good in English because of the Navodaya school education, Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalaya, this book helped immensely, right? You will know, you can understand, you can know the meaning of the word by just looking at the word, because this book will help you understand the roots of the words, right? So the origin of the word, by looking at that word, you will know, okay, this could be its meaning, right? It will help you know the meaning even if you haven't seen that word before. This book will help, and it will build your vocabulary in such a way that writing essay becomes very easy for you, okay? And try to have conversation. ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಬೇಡ ಭಯ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಈಗ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಿರುಪತಿ, ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್. ಇವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗಿವ್ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಬಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟರ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಮೂವಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ, ರೈಟ್? 20 ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು 10 to 12 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಟೈಮ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು, ರೈಟ್? ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಬಯಾಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಚ್, ರೈಟ್? ಬಟ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ psychological thing, right? So I haven't seen anybody who has given interview in Kannada medium and has scored 200 plus. I haven't come across anyone. First of all, in clearing this exam, cracking this exam in Kannada medium, especially in mains, and going for interview is a very difficult. What the current trend is, once in 3 or 4 years, one Kannada medium individual is cracking this examination, right? The same thing is happening with the KPSC now. So nearly 95% are English medium people. And those who are thinking of cracking KPSC, forget about it. I mean, don't think about it. You can crack, but focus on UPSC. And we are all fighting for reforms. I am fighting total reforms of the KPSC. I'm not worried about, so much worried about, re-exam, re-notification. If the institution is not reformed, what is the point of conducting examination again and again from the same institution, right? So again, if you analyze the issue, it is not just about, Kannada medium, English medium, it's about the entire education system. So I was talking about government school, so that has not prepared you to, right, face these kind of exams. The very foundation is weak. So there are so many issues, right? But when you have come to Bangalore now to learn, so you have to do all these things which are essential. English, strong hold on English or mastery on English is must. And we are negotiating with the Hindu, so they have a program called STEP, right? To teach English, to teach proficiency in English, both spoken and also the written English. So I'm trying to add that course to OGP course. Maybe we'll not do it separate, right? So we are negotiating, and I think it's like 40 to 50 hour course, right? So we'll make it available to you. By completing that course, it is equal, you will gain equal capability of solving that IELTS exam. Not that IELTS, TOEFL, IELTS, America, England, English test pass ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, right? So that equal proficiency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಬರ್ತದೆ in terms of expertise. So that much you will gain. So that we are trying to do. But even if, whether you are going to do it or not, you can do it by yourself by actually reading the original newspaper, right? So ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯಿರಿ. So have conversation with English and ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿರ್ರಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಇನ್ಯಾರು ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ಲು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಸೋಷಿಯಾಲಜಿ, ಆಂಥ್ರೋಪಾಲಜಿ, ದೀಸ್ ತ್ರೀ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಫೇಮಸ್, ಟ್ರೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋದು. ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಟಾಪರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ಸ್. ಕನ್ನಡ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್, ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ, ಟು ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ PubBad, I see them. I have seen many, with economics also, but they have done masters in economics and from the most reputed institutions like IIM and Delhi University. Law also I have seen, but they are from like National Law School, Nalsar, topmost law colleges in India. Medical I have seen, but mostly postgraduates. Those are done post graduation. They have done Agri also, mostly post graduation. And these professional courses, if you have mastered them during the course of your college days, university days, then go for them, right? Otherwise, totally stay away from maths, botany, zoology, physics, chemistry. Totally stay away from these. And law, medical science, agriculture, they depends on how you studied. Even if you studied well, the first category, stay away from them. Maths, physics, botany and all. Other optionals you can take, provided you have completed them during the college days, because they are not going to help you in UPSC other aspects, but you are going to spend so much time on them. Like if you take medical science, or if you take law, if you take mathematics, so you'll spend so much time on that, because you are zero with respect to GS also, with respect to current affairs. So you have to spend more time. That is why. Otherwise, people who are good in those optionals, they are also doing well. And most of the engineers, like 85%, they choose these political science, sociology and anthropology. So I think, I don't know still why UPSC has retained. I don't see any logic in it. So they have an argument that, one should, they want to test one's, interest, one's expertise in one of the domains, one of the disciplines. I don't think it is necessary. Like studying anthropology, I don't see how it is going to help you tomorrow as an IAS officer. We can force ourselves to give an answer to that. Right? There may be a relevance, but again, I'm not sure. So KPSC has done very well by removing the optionals, wood reforms, right? So I consider that's a very big reform. But ಅದನ್ನ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಪಾಪ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ 1-2 ಇಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ರೈಟ್, ಇರ್ತದೆ, 1-2 ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತೀರಿ. ಬಟ್ 99% ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ವೀಕ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಇವು 5 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇವರು. ರೈಟ್, ಸೊ ವಿ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ವೀಕ್. ಬಟ್ ಇವರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಐವಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ 50 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ರೈಟ್, ಸೊ ತಪ್ಪೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವರು 5 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 4 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 12-13 years only 3 recruitments have taken place KPSC ನಲ್ಲಿ. Right, so many translation errors. So optionals, be careful about which optional to take. KPSC ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದು. ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ KPSC ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಓದಿಂಗಿರ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಸೊ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್. ರೈಟ್, ಚೂಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್. ನನಗೆ ಅನ್ಸೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಸೋಷಿಯಾಲಜಿ, ಆಂಥ್ರೋಪಾಲಜಿ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್, ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್, ಇವು ಸೇಫ್ ಈಗಿರೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೈಕಾಲಜಿ ಇಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ನೆವರ್ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ. ನೀವು ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದು ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್? ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಯಾರಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ? ಗುಡ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಫೇಲೆ, ಸದ್ಗುರು ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಐ ಲವ್ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇದು ಒಂದಿರ್ಲಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಎಂಡಿಗೆ. ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಂತ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕೋಬೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರವ್ರು. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಸ್ಬೇಕಂತಿದ್ವಿ ಇಗ್ನೈಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ 15 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೇಳಿ, ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಬಿಡ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಗ್ನೈಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಬಂದವರೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪ ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಒಬ್ರು OP ಚೌಧರಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು. IAS ಆಫೀಸರ್, ಈ ಗೇವ್ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ರಿಟೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಛತ್ತೀಸ್ಗಢ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಡಿಡ್ ಎ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಜಾಬ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಲೆಂಟ್ IAS ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ. ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ಸಿಗೆ a wonderful job, very humble, down to earth. So he had come here all the way from Chhattisgarh. IAS ಇಂದ ರಿಟೈರ್ ಆಗಿ BJP ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿ he had contested an election. ಅದು ML ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿನ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ವೇಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ದೇರ್. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧೆಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ದಟ್ ಈ ವಾಚ್ ದಟ್ ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್. ರೈಟ್, ಈ ಗೇವ್ ಯು ಲೈಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ 1.5 hours he spent time. He gave that lecture. Now he is the finance minister in Chhattisgarh. Right, ಈ ಒಂದು ಈಗಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಡೌನ್ ಟು ಅರ್ತ್. ರೈಟ್, ಸೊ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ ಈ ಗುರುಜಿನ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೇಕನ್ನ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರ ಟೀಮ್ನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗುರುಜಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಟೀಮ್ನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಫ್ಲೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 15 ಜನ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ. ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಟೀಮ್. ಎದ್ರಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು, ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ, ಆಡಿಟೋರಿಯಂ ಬುಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹುಡುಗರು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬರಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಗೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಮತ್ತವರಲ್ಲಿ KPSC ವೆಟ್ರನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ರೈಟ್, ಯಾ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ವಾಟ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋ ಯಾಕೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬೇಗ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ವಿಶ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಏನಾರ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಈಗಲೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿರ್ತೀನಿ 4 ಗಂಟೆ ತನಕ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೊನೆಯ ಮಾತುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮರೆಸಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್? ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿರಿ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಚೀವ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್. And we'll together make it possible. And I see a perfect equality in everyone in terms of what they possess inside. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಿರೋದು, ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇರಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಅನ್ಇಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೀಸ್, ರೈಟ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್, ರೈಟ್, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಟು ಅಸ್. ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ರೈಟ್. ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ, ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ. ದಟ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ನೋ ಹೌ ಟು ಯೂಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್, you can become anything you want. So that is the beauty of Indian society. There are so many issues, illa antalla, but we should be proud that we have independence, we have freedom, and we should know how to use that freedom effectively without complaining, right. Now there is freedom to learn, there is freedom to move, there is freedom to, right, express, there is freedom to engage, there is freedom to start a business, learn anything you want, give any exam you want. There is freedom. We should know how to use that freedom very well, right. So ಈ ಕಾಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಲಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಆ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ ಹೌ ಟು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಯೂಸ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಏನು ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ? ಇವತ್ತೈದು ಕ್ಲಾಸು. ಡೂ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಟುಡೇ ಆರ್ ಟುಮಾರೋ? ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್ ತಂದಿರಪ್ಪ ನನಗೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ OGP ಬ್ಯಾಚ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಚ್ ವಿ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ವಿತ್ ಎ ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್, ಡೈರಿ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್. Hello. So going forward, any feedback that you have, you can come and give to us related to anything. So yeah, I was one important point I forgot to mention, that somewhere we don't use the mentorship, and we lack, we have some inhibition within us, right. So alli tanka bandu meeting a mentor, asking a doubt or giving a feedback, showing an answer, right. Everybody doesn't possess that quality. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕೂಲು ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ನಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಏನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿನ ಎರಡು ಸರಿನ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ರೈಟ್. ಆಸ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈಡ್. Make use of the mentors. Along with that, sometimes what happens, even if you are facing certain problem, even that also you don't come and share with us, right. So any mistake happening from our side, right, let us say if you promise a test and if you don't deliver, so you should come and tell us. Sometimes we don't do intentionally, maybe for some reason it might have happened. So when you come and tell, we will immediately correct, right. So that is your right actually, right. So you are paid and you have earned a seat here. So let that feedback keep coming, and again it helps us improve also, right. So if at all we have grown mainly because of the feedback. So yaar feedback kottru adnella implement ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು we have become one of the best institutions in South India currently, right. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ you will face some problems. Again ಬೇರೆ ನಿಮ್ದೇನಾರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಅಸ್, ನಮ್ದೇನೇ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೊಲೀಸು ಪರಿಚಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಫೇಸ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಹರಾಸ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಕಳೆದೋದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ನೇನಾರು ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಅಸ್. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಫೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಲೋನ್. ಯಾರೋ OBC ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಇನ್ನೇನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಲ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ದೆಮ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಈ ಥರ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದು, ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯೋದನ್ನು. Okay, thank you, all the best.